Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 43 of the Spawn Point podcast. Of course, we have Andy.
Hi.
We have Ebbie.
Hi.
But we also have someone else, and that is Steve Barnett, Vector Stevie B. He's back. We can get rid of the ghost now, at least for this episode. Welcome back, Steve.
It's been like 3 months since I haven't been here, but can't say I'm officially back, but I'm back.
Well, we won't hold our breath.
No, I might go again. But yeah, I'm back. So, yeah.
Do you want to tell people what happened the other day with us breaking down in the middle of a farm?
Basically, me and my girlfriend, we decided that we'd go and pick Matt up.
Oh, is that what you call me?
No, Matt.
Well, I like to say it's official, but...
Me and my girlfriend went to go and pick Matt up at his house. So we went and did that. Then we decided that we would go to the Sea Life Centre in Weymouth. So drove all the way from Matt's house. We got 6 miles away from...
I also point out that the time it takes to get to each place as well.
So it took about... We would have got to the Sea Life Centre about 3:30, 4:45. We didn't make it to the Sea Life Centre. We made it 8 miles away from the Sea Life Centre.
So Steve drove for 2 hours to get to me. Then we drove 3 hours to get there, and then we broke down 8 miles from the location. Yeah. And yeah, you can tell the rest.
Basically, the car just cut out. We were in the middle, well, not in the middle of the road, but we were in a dangerous position. So I had to try and get the car onto the grass verge by trying to bump it, which is damn well difficult. And then I had to call the breakdown people out, which took him an hour and a bit to come out. He eventually comes out, but before that, we had a tractor that came past us. He waved at us as if to say, hello, and he drove past. We then had
Twice. He did it twice.
Yeah, twice. He drove past us twice, right? And then we had a car, a 4x4. He pulls in. I was thinking, oh my God, we've been saved. He gets out his car. He checks his bloody tyre. And he gets back in his car and he drives off. And I was sat there. I got out my car. I was thinking, yes, we've been saved. For him to get out, he looked at me with his cold, dead eyes. And he gets back in his car and he drives off. The recovery man comes along. Oh, mate, I'll take you to the nearest garage and get you filled up with fuel because you ran out of fuel, mate. We get to the garage, fill up with fuel. I put biodiesel in my car, which is meant to have normal diesel. And I totally screwed the engine, and it's cost about £1,300 to fix. Matt then had to get from the location we were at to the train station, from the train station to his house, from where his parents were.
Because we're in a petrol station in the middle of nowhere, so you had to get a taxi to come pick us up from there. Off that way. It cost us a lot of money.
I was so genuinely worried, though, like seriously, because I was worried about getting Matt back. And I was worried about my girlfriend to get pillaged or something like that, because...
Well, we were ready. It was 6 miles from the nearest town. And then Steve's like, right, well, we better get walking then. I was thinking, 6 miles? That's going to take us, 8
miles. 8 miles.
No, 6 miles to the nearest town.
Yeah.
But not where we're trying to get to.
But I was so worried about that Matt or Abby, which is my new girlfriend, was going to get pillaged, Wasn't worried about myself, but I just wanted to make sure that Matt and Abby got home because, you know what I mean? This road we were actually sat on was a 60-mile-an-hour road. We could have been hit by anything,
We almost did get hit a few times, actually.
Yeah, we did. We could have been murdered. Matt could have been through the windscreen.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, on that bombshell, yeah. That if you saw my Twitter, you saw the picture, that's what happened. That's the story.
It was fucking terrible. I hate every minute of it.
But we both got back, and Steve's now on the podcast after I think you were on episode 37 or something like that. Although, mind you, we haven't done an episode every week, so that, yeah. So on this episode, we're going to be talking about remastered editions and also definitive editions, what we think about them. Are there any games we'd like to see remastered? Do we think there's too many of them? All that stuff. And also, if we've got enough time, we don't drag on too much about it, talk about content being drip fed for stuff like Splatoon, and also Hitman, which is coming out on the 8th of December. It's going to be released in chunks, but we'll get onto that later, probably. Remastered editions, guys. Have you bought any recently?
Me, no, because I haven't had a computer or anything.
The last one I bought would have been in February with my Majora's Mask 3DS.
Yeah, I think that's the same one for me, actually. I don't think I've got anything else.
So there's a lot of them popping up at the moment.
Actually, I've got The Last of Us.
Last of Us. Did you get the remastered one on PS4?
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably my most recent one as well. So we've got quite. There seems to be a trend of, especially like the word definitive edition. It seems to be like a buzzword now. Like every game seems to have one. And there's loads of remastered. Like we had like the Master Chief Collection. Later this year, we're getting the Nathan Drake Collection. We've got a full list here of most of the games here that are coming out this year, and a few for the future. So we've got Legend of Zelda that you mentioned, Majora's Mask. That's in February. Homeworld Remastered, that was in end of February. Devil May Cry Definitive Edition, 10th of March. Final Fantasy X and X2 HD remasters. That's a remaster of a remaster, mind you. Because they did it for PS3, then PS4.
Did they? Oh my
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. I've got the PS3
And that was,
version.
they did the PS3 remaster 2 years ago, and it doesn't even look that different. Then Devil May Cry's got another, basically remastered game, which is Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition, and that came out on the 23rd of June. So 2 different Devil May Cry games that came out months apart, basically, in the same year. God of War 3 Remastered, which comes out this Friday. Why they want to remake that game, because it looks exactly the same as well. But we'll get to that. Dishonored Definitive Edition, that's in August. Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection, that's in October. Darksiders 2 has a placeholder date of the 31st of December 2015. And then we've also got Ratchet & Clank, which is coming out in 2016, early 2016, I believe, which is like a remake, but they're also changing aspects of it as well, I think. Kind of similar to the way they're doing Final Fantasy VII, which some people think is like going to be out early 2017. They haven't even basically started working on it, I don't think. So it's not going to be out.
Hey, they made that nice trailer.
Yeah,
mind you, I want to point out, wasn't it like the director for the game didn't even know he was going to be working on it or something?
He was just like...
He's like, what? Yeah, what's this? Oh, you're working on it. Oh, okay. You know?
They haven't even got the final name for it yet. It's just Final Fantasy VII Remake, final name pending.
Exactly. But so that's a lot of games that have definitive and remasters, and a lot came out last year, and we're probably going to see even more coming out in the next few years. But all three of you, do you think that there's too many of these editions? Are you sick of them yet? Ebbie's nodding her head. I know you've said something before about definitive editions, and your views on them. Do you want to share that with the rest of us and the people watching?
Right. Firstly, I will put this out there. I get it. A lot of people, for some games anyway, a lot of people got rid of their consoles when the new generation was coming in. So when games like The Last of Us were coming out towards the end of that system's life cycle, they just never had the console to play on. Totally understand that. That's fine. But I just think it's a really lazy way to fill up a release schedule. Some of them I get, like Majora's Mask, because that was an old game. I get that being remade. I get Final Fantasy being remade. I get Ratchet & Clank being remade. But I don't get things like Dishonored Definitive Edition and God of War 3 Remastered, that sort of thing.
It's also really safe. It's like, oh, we're in the credit crunch. What can we bring out? Oh, let's not make an IP. Let's just release something that everyone really likes.
I will say I wouldn't have a problem with it if they were charging less for these games, but they aren't. They just tend to be releasing them at retail price, which is just a bit lazy and a quick cash grab, and I'm not a fan of it at all. For remasters specifically, anyway.
I feel like we need to break tradition we need to continue tradition of Steve talking about Call of Duty games, because me and Steve had a conversation about that he would like to see some of the fourth game and those earlier games that came out, like remastered, current, in modern day. Yeah, Steve, why don't you tell us about that? You said you wanted to see some, remasters.
Yeah, like, for instance, Call of Duty 4, you know, because that game, to me, well, is and will be the best Call of Duty that ever came out, you know, because now you've got all these whitewashes of last year, but a remastered of Call of Duty 4 I would buy that, you know.
But if it was just like they added like, you know, shaders and like better shadows, and they just kind of like gave it a HD makeover, would you buy it, or do you want more like additional stuff?
No, I don't.
You
I
don't?
like it. No, because Call of Duty 4, look at the recent Call of Duties. Look, like you got all these things that you can jump up and use boosters and stuff like that. You got all these perks, kill streaks. I just want it basic, where
But then,
what Call of Duty was.
if they charged you £40 for that and it was just a HD,
That's the thing that I disagree
makeover.
with. That's
Okay,
that's
so
the thing I disagree with.
what could they do for if they're going to say, okay, this is a full price? Like a lot of the remastered games are usually like, you know, full retail, $49.99, $39.99, something like that. What would it take for you to be like, okay, this has got enough value for me? It's the game I know and love, but with some new features. Maybe they add some new modes, some maps. Maybe they make, you know, they introduce new things, but they're not making a new game per se, but they're doing a thing with it, adding additional stuff and building upon that, and just giving it a new, you know, HD.
All I would want is just, like you said, it's just a bit of a facelift, yeah, shaders and that. Leave everything else basic. I know it never happened, but maybe if the game was about £25.99 or £26, you know, I'd go there. But I know for a fact that a AAA release of a game that's already been made would never go for £26, £27, because to them they wouldn't make millions of pounds back they got to make.
I assume that you're talking about the multiplayer aspect of it, or would you want the single player aspect of it as well?
All of it.
That had a fairly good campaign. I remember.
Everything facelifted what was in Call of Duty 4, but just leave everything basic. Don't add new kill streaks. Don't add buffed up guns, because everything was just like on par in Call of Duty 4. But nowadays, you play like your Call of Duties, and everything seems to be so buff or, you know, underbuffed. And
But to play devil's advocate, don't you think that there's too many people exploiting that, just giving it a HD facelift and going, you know, we've remastered it, or we've just added like some, you know, added some shadows, or, you know, improved terrains.
Of course it will be. Like, if one company does it and they're successful, another company comes along and goes, oh, well, we can make a facelift for our game. Let's just add a few little shaders and sell the game for £50, or, you know, something like that. There's always going to be a company out there that's going to do one better, you know. Well, we'll just add a new grenade type or whatever, you know, to sell the game £50.
Is any of this like wanting? Oh, Call of Duty 4 the best version of it. Is anything? Do you think nostalgic? Like, when was the last time you actually played Call of Duty 4? Like, because when was the last?
Yeah, okay, I do agree with that. The last time I played Call of Duty 4 was probably about 3-4 years ago.
I think I played it a year ago, actually, because I played it on.
But
PC.
I always remember though. Every time a new Call of Duty comes out, they always say we're going back to our roots. We're doing this. We're doing that. They never do. Do you know what I mean? They never go back to the roots of Call of Duty.
You know that things are going downhill, and things are just become so repetitive with that franchise. When Steve Barnett is saying he's fed up of it all, you know there's a problem there.
Yeah. Do you know what, right? The new Call of Duty is coming out this year. Like, I've always been like, I'm definitely gonna buy that, but this year I'm not, because it's a whitewash of Advanced Warfare. It's exactly the same.
That's I slyly said, but I don't know if anyone noticed, in the E3 episode we did, I said, oh yeah, Sony also had a short brief moment where they covered some Advanced Warfare DLC called Black Ops 3. But yeah, there are lots of these games that are just going, like Final Fantasy, like, is the perfect, not for 7, but for 10. It's the perfect example of going, hey, this is a PS2 game. I love that game on PS2. That was probably the Final Fantasy game that I actually played a considerable amount. I haven't really played the others that much. I played briefly a few of the earlier ones. But they made it for PS3, and then it's like, there's this comparison video as well that I saw. I think it was in GameSpot, where they show like PS2, PS3, PS4. The jump from PS2 to PS4 is quite considerable. But because of the PS3 version, it just doesn't, you know, don't look at the PS2 to that. Look at 3 to 4. And it's like, why have you done a remake of a remake? Like, I don't want.
There's money.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah. all those bucks.
It's like, is that gonna be a thing now where we get like, oh, we've remade the remake?
I think remakes are more worthwhile than remasters or definitive editions.
Yeah, I guess there is a difference. Is it a remasters like?
Because I mean, it's kind of similar to the fact that like you can't do it for the PS4 at the moment, but on the PS3 where they were like, okay, so now we've taken backwards compatibility out of the PS3. You can rebuy all of your old games that you had and pay money for them. They're going to be exactly the same. We can just rebuy them. And essentially doing like a re-release on another console just with a slightly better graphics, but putting it at full price is almost the same thing. Okay, it's slightly better, but
there is this issue, obviously, like backwards compatibility. Everyone's like, oh yeah, it's not a flick the switch moment where we go, is backwards compatibility on or off? Like, it's not like, should we just keep that? Imagine this little room with just one switch. Just like,
really want to imagine that in the back of a PS4, just backwards compatibility, and you just press that. It's like,
in a lot of people's minds, people think it's that simple. Like theoretically speaking, you can just go, oh yeah, we'll have it on. But there's legal issues of licensing, especially with stuff like racing games and football games. We've got these soundtracks of the songs, and the license is for those platforms. It doesn't reach outside of that, so they have to make new agreements up. And a lot of the developers will be like, hey, we don't want this game on there because we're selling, a definitive edition, or we're selling that same game on there that's not the same thing. We don't want that to affect our sales. They want to get more money out of people for the same stuff. And so they're just reluctant on that. And, Xbox had to build an emulator, an Xbox 360 emulator within it in order to play that. It's incredibly difficult to do for PS3, if not near impossible.
PS4.
For PS4, I mean, for PS3 games, because of the architecture of the system. So they can, and because of all that, because of the barriers that are put up, and because of how difficult it can be, we get these remasters, we get these definitive editions and all that. Like, there's Super Meat Boy, I heard, right? Exact same game is coming to PS4. It's not being changed at all, and you have to buy it again. Now,
why though?
It's like, I'm buying the same game. I already own this game.
See, now, what I would like to say, at the time of recording this, I think it's a week until Journey comes out on PS4, and that's actually cross-buy. So anyone that's got it on PS3 automatically get it on PS4,
that's
which I
cool.
think's actually
and that's
really
what
decent.
I had on my Vita, is I had Hotline Miami 2 on there, and I had Oli Oli 2. And I got them from PS Plus, not Hotline Miami 2, I bought that. And I got my PS4 last week, and then I loaded it up. I was like, oh, cool, I don't have to buy these games again. I bought it, I'm an owner of that. And I do kind of think that at the same time of all this happening, cross-buy and, cross-play, all that stuff is sort of right on the rise as well. So it's kind of like, that's becoming more of a thing as well. So it's like, it's two different conflicting things, really.
I mean, I really appreciate that game company for doing that, because Journey came out ages ago. And the fact that they're just going, hey, we're bringing it out on PS4. Just, if you've already bought the game, fine, have it. It's yours. And I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to have to, because I only picked it up last week or something. And I was like, fuck's sake, it's coming out on PS4. I'm going to have to buy it again for that if I want to play it. And no, I really appreciate that. Well done, that game company.
There are people that argue, though, that with these remasters and everything, it helps people who never played those games discover those older titles, and kind of makes it more fitting for a modern environment, if that makes sense, like graphics and mechanics and stuff.
I'm willing to say that things like the Nathan Drake collection and, to an extent, the Master Chief collection, quite good because they are bundles of games.
When it works.
When it works. But you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
You buy a single game, but you get all these other games. I think that's quite cool. But when it's like Dishonored is getting, why?
Yeah, but
why can't you do what Nintendo did and just bundle Bayonetta with Bayonetta 2? Do that.
The really awesome thing with the Master Chief collection is that, well, yeah, when it works. But I think it's fine now. But to start with, I had no problems. Then they patched it and it messed things up for me, that's another story in itself. But what was really awesome about that is the fact that you got Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I had never played the first two games. I came in at Halo 3, and that was the first game I played. And they'd redone all the cutscenes, you know, and they just basically, it was a remake. It wasn't a remaster, it was a remake. And there is a difference. You know, remakes like starting from scratch from the ground up. Remasters like you just kind of work with what you've got and add things to it. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. So I get to play this game, but with all the stuff updated, and I could switch. That I really liked that thing where you could switch between the old graphics and the sounds as well, like old and new. The only problem is it's really addictive because you're like constantly going, oh, I wonder what that's like. I wonder what that particular explosion's like, and it's.
They did that with the Secret of Monkey Island and Monkey Island 2. And that is really awesome because it's pretty much, I don't know how it is in the Master Chief Collection, but it's really seamless. You just hit one button, it's like, whoop, like
you press it and instantly it's like, it's not even a second, it just changes. All the sounds are different, all the music's different.
There's a way to do that with the Pokemon Gold and Silver remakes as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, I do like the fact there's other things, like the first ever Ratchet and Clank game. I never played that. I played basically all the other ones that were out, but I never played like the first few games that came out. And so it's like, oh cool, I can play this game, I can play it with new graphics and new sort of updated, and they are sort of adding new stuff to it, so I get to experience that.
There's a really fine line with remakes though, where you can be like, oh, we're going to tweak a couple of things, and you're like, okay, sure. Sometimes it works, like Majora's Mask 3DS. That was really good because, you know, you had the Bomber's Notebook, it was really easy to organise, you could skip forward in time to wherever you wanted, that sort of stuff. And then there's remakes like Mario 64 DS, which I really didn't like, and I'm a huge fan of Mario 64 because you didn't just play as Mario in that game, you played as Wario, Luigi, and Yoshi as well.
Did you have the choice to do that, or did
some
it just go...
some stars are locked off to different characters because they've all got like different movesets and stuff. And I was like, this isn't Mario 64. I don't like it. This isn't the game that I wanted to play. Like, what did you do? So I feel like there's a fine line between it's going to look better and we're going to improve some stuff to we're going to tweak it so much that it's entirely different, which is what I'm worried they're going to do with Final Fantasy VII, and then they're going to upset everybody. So,
I mean, it's kind of like the Star Wars syndrome, where sort of George Lucas went back and was like, oh, I'm going to improve the original trilogy, and fiddled about with it, and then it released on a DVD, and he fiddled about with it more, wiped one of the characters out right at the end of Return of the Jedi, and replaced it with someone from the new trilogy, and just messed with it so much that there's a lot of fans that have been pissed off. And that's exactly the same thing I feel like you're just talking about with games. Also, I think there's another line, which is like the time, like how long ago did the game come out? So stuff like that's been games that have been out on PS3 or Xbox 360, and they're making like a remastered or definitive edition coming to the next gen consoles. I think I'm less okay with them doing stuff with those than I am with something, say, for the Final Fantasy VII remake, or when they redid Abe's Odyssey with New and Tasty, and just completely just redid the game in current day graphics and redid the whole engine. And I'm okay with paying full price for that because they've actually put some time and effort into remaking the game.
That's the point I'm trying to get at. That's my opinion as well. So.
On the topic of like how long you should wait, I wanted to get Steve's opinion as to how long for games that he would like, and we will sort of like cover what games we'd like to see remastered. But how long would you wait for? You know, how long would you want it to be until a game is remade? Should it be like 10 years? Should it be 5? Or should it be 15 or something, you know?
Well, it depends the level of what they're going to do. If they're just going to do a few shaders and, you know, basic stuff like that, then I would expect, you know, between a year and 2 years. But if they're going to do
But would you want to buy something that's just like 2 years later that you've just played, that's just like they've made some slight graphical improvements? Like, do you not feel like that's a bit of a cop-out
Obviously, if I only played the game 3 years ago or something and they made a remake, then no. But I mean, talking of like a game that's like 10 plus years, years old, and they make a remake of it, I would expect like a year. But if they're going to do some super buff stuff on it, then you could be talking 5-6 years to make a remake. But if a company's going to do that, are they guaranteed that they're going to make enough money in order to make the revenue back to be able to make something else?
Well, the thing with like remasters is people have this argument of, people are too, like, they shouldn't be wasting their time on remasters, this development studio, because they should be putting, like, Uncharted. People go, they shouldn't be making Nathan Drake collection because they should spend more time on Uncharted 4. Maybe it won't be delayed. Here's the thing. With remasters, they're incredibly easy to make and don't take much manpower, like, from a studio to create, but they're very profitable. And so they use that money to help towards the game they're actually making. So you can say, maybe it won't be delayed. Like, well, it will still be delayed. It's just like these people is not sucking that much resources from the current game they're working on. So people have this idea that, that's why they exist, is they're so easy to make, these people, to do what they do, to do the remasters, but people just eat them up. They're just like, this is amazing. I'll get this because of nostalgia. They're selling you on nostalgia, aren't they, basically?
It's basically like being targeted towards our generation, where like Final Fantasy VII is a perfect example. It's going to be targeted towards our generation, or people that are slightly weren't in that era, and like they hear everyone from us going, it was one of the best Final Fantasy games
back
ever.
In my day.
Before they like lightning shit up the series with 3 games or whatever, and that's going to sell a lot of copies, because I want to play that again. I tried to go back to it.
And you went back and you went, hang on, where are all the microtransactions?
There's one thing that, in regards to the price of stuff, that I keep thinking about in regards to this, and that's the Rare Collection, which they announced at E3, which is like 30 years Rare games just on a disc or whatever for Xbox One, and it's like 19 quid.
Do you know if that's 60 frames per second? Because we were talking to Kimros and he was saying about that he thought it ran at 60, which kind of sounds like a bad idea for games that old.
Some of them like some of the
Cameo
old
and
games
Viva
ran it.
Pinata.
Like there's like Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, whatever, isn't that? Like, isn't that like
everybody's favourite?
Isn't that one that runs like, that's a more recent one that could probably do okay at 60 frames, but like really old games, it just doesn't look right.
A lot of old games used to run at 60 FPS.
Did they?
A lot of old SNES games did, yeah.
So
I've seen some games that just really dodgy when people like forcefully make them 60, and it's like that doesn't look right.
Maybe it'll depend on the game. Like, I don't know.
I think it's just simply like a collection where it's like these are exactly the same.
Yeah, but they're going to sell tons of that because someone's going to be like, man, there's 30 years of games on this disc.
It's kind of like another thing that Steve was saying to me before was about what they might potentially do with Call of Duty is have a collection where they go, here are like the 3 top games that were the most popular, but here's a collection. They come with all the downloadable content and all the other stuff.
Yeah, but pay like £130 for the whole thing.
I've just pulled up their fact sheet on the game, and it doesn't mention anything about it being at 60 FPS. It doesn't say it's not, but I can't confirm that.
Yeah. So, what games would you like to see remastered? That is the I don't want to. Okay, before we say this, I'm not saying definitive editions. Just like things. Okay, let's say games you want to be remade, like from the ground up. Games that you really liked in your childhood, or that you liked. I don't know. I think there should be like a 10-year rule on like proper remakes, like to see like a 10-year anniversary and you go, here's this. But any games that you would like to see, from any time frame, just like completely remade, completely done up. None of this definitive edition rubbish where it's,
I would
go.
like...
Go
Okay,
on,
Steve.
No, you go. Oh, well, okay.
Okay, so
Go for it, Steve.
Steve, you go.
Right. This is my opinion. Obviously, other people would be differently if they wanted it remade. But my only game really I'd want remade is Call of Duty 4. But, you know, for me, like a Shade of Birth or whatever, I know you two are laughing. I can see you laughing in the
There must
background.
be some other games that you played when you were younger, though, that you'd quite like to see brought back to life again. Like before that, or other games that you really liked on older systems. Like, you must have played other stuff other than that.
Yeah, but I can't think at this right point what those games would be.
Well, while you think about that, let's give Andy a turn to sort of share his.
Okay, now it's already been remade, and I was really disappointed with the remake from what I played of it. The original Metal Gear Solid is one of my sort of favourite games. It's got a really janky control system and everything, and it doesn't hold up well graphically these days. Got remade for the GameCube, and I recently played it for the first time a couple of weeks ago. I was really disappointed with it. They changed some of the cutscenes in it. They updated it to the Metal Gear Solid 2 engine, as far as I could tell, and it just wasn't very good. I don't think they completely changed the soundtrack as well. They didn't have any or hardly any of the original music, which is one of the things that just completely ruined it for me, and even changed like the game over screens. I assume that was probably something to do with copyrights, or I don't know why. I would like to see a good remake of that in the original engine, or in something similar to the original engine. And also Final Fantasy VIII. Now you're doing Final Fantasy VII remake. 8 is the other classic one that I feel everyone of sort of my age, it was either 7 or 8. You either played one of those two. 8 was the first one I played, and I really loved that game, and that's one of the Final Fantasy games that I would like to see redone, even though there's a lot of people that don't like it.
Ebbie, what about you? Have you got any?
I don't think I've got one. Like, literally every game that I could think
of
has already had a remake. So I was like, oh, Lilac Wars, and I'll Star Fox 64 3D.
It's because they know.
Heroes Paradise.
They know that you want these games.
If I was going to say anything, maybe No More Heroes 2 for the PS4 now, I guess, because they didn't do that. They just put what they did with the remake, it was kind of a remaster, I don't know, of No More Heroes, was they took a load of bosses from No More Heroes 2 and just jammed them in there. So, I don't think they'll ever do that. Maybe that. I don't know.
I've got a couple, but like one of the ones is funny about saying ones that have already been remade. Ratchet and Clank, hasn't come out yet, but they are making it, because I never played the original one, and I loved those games. Like, in general, like I just had this thing about, like, especially my childhood, I used to play so many 3D platformers. Like, that was like I just played so many of them, and like Ratchet and Clank games constantly, the Jak and Daxter games played constantly. So Ratchet and Clank, that is being remade. I think I probably mention this game as much as Steve mentions Call of Duty. Probably not as much, but anytime I get an opportunity to talk about a game I'd like to see announced, or something I'd like to see come out of the woodworks, Jak and Daxter.
Borderlands remake.
No, not Borderlands.
Oh yeah.
Jak and Daxter. They did do a PS3 like trilogy collection, but it was more of like a remaster. Like, they changed some. I couldn't notice any difference really on the PS2. Maybe there's some slight things, but I'm talking like, you got the power of the PS4 now. If they did a thing where, like they're doing for what game are they doing it for? Uncharted, where they've got this whole collection coming out. If they had, because Naughty Dog, like, they were gonna work on Jak 4. That was a game that didn't get made, and Last of Us got made instead. And maybe that was a good decision, because Last of Us is supposedly really good. I haven't played it yet, but I've got it. But they had all the concept art. It looked really cool. They're going for a much more mature vibe, and I'd just like to really see that PS2 game, just like with the power of the PS4, take advantage of that, just make everything look just as good as the Ratchet and Clank game starting to look for the one that's coming out next year. And then they can say, okay, so we're remaking the original one, and we're working on a Jak 4, and that's going to come out a year after that or something. If that happens at E3, I will lose my shit. Like I will go like that and Borderlands, but more like Jak and Daxter stuff, because that is like my kind of like my childhood really. Like a lot of my sort of like ages like 7 to 12, I think I was just playing just those games constantly. Like I completed every one, I got all the collectibles. I bought the trilogy collection. I was really disappointed with that. I was like, for PS3, I was like, this is exactly the same stuff. Not much difference. The same games. Didn't really add anything. So yeah, I think they could do a better job there. And the other one, which probably won't ever happen, but Fable 2.
Okay.
They did Fable Anniversary, but
Fable 2 wasn't that great.
really,
I don't like it.
Ah,
It's all them British accents. I'm just like, nah, no, I'm done.
I really like that game actually.
I did think of one thing actually that I might like to see. Maybe Shenmue.
Shane Mui.
Shane Mui. I was just thinking, I have no idea what the hype is about with the third one. So maybe remake those, because I don't think they're attainable anymore. Don't even know what systems are on. Dreamcast?
Dreamcast is
Sega's-
Shenmue 2 and Saturn, I think.
Saturn, yeah.
It was basically two of Sega's consoles that didn't do particularly well.
They because they confirmed that the Fable 1, 2, and 3 are going to be backwards compatible because Microsoft own the license to them, so they can do that. So I can play that, but I would like like a remade version of that, just because Fable 3 was like a 4-hour game. Peter Molyneux's screw you. It was like, it just got the ending. I couldn't talk to everyone, was just dead, and like there was no one running the shops. So there's
That fucking game, man.
no one's running the shops because I tried to save like half the people, and everybody died for some reason. Thanks for that.
No, you either like make everyone hate you in that game and save them, or everyone likes you and they all die.
But they're all dead, so there's no one to like you. And it's like, there's no one running the shops, so I can't buy anything, and I couldn't do anything. Like, you could obviously get married and stuff. My wife died in it. It's like, oh, this is tragic. Everybody's dead apart from like 3 people in one town. It's like, yay. But Fable 2, I had a lot of fun with that, and I had this whole thing going where I was like, I just went round like making like different women pregnant, and then like, because you could get married like while you're already married. I think you got an achievement for it, for being like and I was like, I'm just gonna go around doing that, and I was like, oh, I got that kid over there. She doesn't know about her. Oh, okay, and it's like, oh, she found out, and it's like having The Sims, but also having this RPG game where I'm going around killing enemies. So I really enjoyed that.
You know what? I've actually thought of another one, and none of you are going to have heard of it, because I don't think you are old. It was it came out on MS-DOS 3.3. Space Hulk.
Snake.
1993 it came out, so I was 6 years old then. Basically, it sort of expanded from the board game, and you had like 5 different monitors of your Marines, and you had to go through, and there was various different objectives. Like you had to, one of the ones I remember is you had to go and collect something from one room and then get back to your escape pod. But the sort of Tyranids that were running around the maps, you just see like as little blips on a map screen, which you can only see I'm not explaining this very well, but you can only see the sort of, just imagine there's 5 TV screens. If you've ever seen the film Alien, when they can see all the Marines through their helmet, so you get like a helmet cam, so it's first person with all of them, and you can issue orders to all of the different Marines and tell them to go somewhere, and you can pause time and have like a map overview, and you can see where all of the they're not Tyranids, so they're Gene Stealers.
I'm trying to picture it so bad.
I'll link you the wiki page.
Yeah, do that.
And you can pause time, and then you have like a limited amount of time, and you can tell all of your different Marines to say, one go here, one you can put them in like guard mode and stuff as well, like an Overwatch. And it was just really, there was an atmosphere in it, and you didn't know how many of the Gene Stealers were going to come and attack you at one time. You just saw this blip coming towards you, and it was such a good game.
One's popped to my mind now. For PS2, which was a game which was all about graffiti and sort of like marking your territory, and you're doing these different designs. No, it's called, like, I think it's Mark Echoes Getting Up. It's got quite a kinky name.
Getting up.
Yeah, I think actually that was on Game Informer, who were like,
Well, they helped you get it up.
No, they were doing a video about it, and they kept on calling it Getting It Up. But they played it recently, and I was watching a video, and I was like, I remember that game. And it's basically like you're having to do these. There's a bit of combat. The combat is pretty naff, actually. But you're climbing to really like hard to reach places, and you're tagging over people's graffiti already, and you can change the designs. And when you're doing the graffiti, you have like, it takes a lot of concentration because you can put too much ink in some bits and it'll drip, and then that'll affect your score. And so basically go around doing that. It's like basically like there's a bit of parkour, a bit of graffiti, a bit of combat.
Are you a squid or are you a kid in it?
Yeah, neither. But yeah, it was a really good game, and I'd quite like to see that brought to life on the PS4 again. A lot of the games that I would probably want remade are probably like PS2, PS1 games. Like just out there, like Crash Team Racing. If they ever remade that, I would, my face would melt. Like Crash Team Racing for PS1, it's just. Oh.
I thought of a game, but then I realised it's going to be in that Rare collection, so.
Oh, right.
I was like, Blast Core! That game was so good! Oh, play Blast Core, it's so good.
This is just turning into the reminiscing podcast.
Oh, maybe remake Mario 64, but don't make it really poo. That'd be great.
Yeah. So, is Steve still here?
I'm here.
Oh, good. Have you managed to think of... I thought we lost you there for a second. Have you managed to
Yeah, I have.
think of some games?
Yeah, I've got one more. And
Call
that
of
would
Duty
be...
3.
No, Andy, it's not Call of Duty at all. It's on the N64, and this will probably be a remake, but to bring it on to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and that would be GoldenEye 007, from N64.
I think they
Is that in
already...
the Rare collection?
Actually, no, it's not, actually. But didn't they already remake it, like, ages ago?
I think they
Did
made
they?
a sequel to it, and it wasn't very good.
I can't
Yeah, but I
remember. I'm sure...
Yeah, there was something that came out on PS2, I want to say.
I'm sure Phil Spencer was talking about it in a podcast.
Well, I'd love them to make it on PS4, Xbox One, PC.
Could they make
As a
it so
remake.
it hasn't aged terribly? That would be great.
Oh, can you imagine that? That was bad.
I'm sure
But
there's
if it was
loads
bring it up
more.
now.
I'm sure there's loads more games. I just, on the top of my head, I'm trying to, because I haven't got them anymore. A lot of those
Ooh,
games.
do an F-Zero game with all of the maps from the old ones. Just make an F-Zero game. I don't care if it's a remake at this
I'm
point.
gonna-
I just want one.
Yeah.
What are the games? Hang on.
Oh, are we doing this now? Okay.
Yeah, GoldenEye Rogue Agent came out for
Alright.
the PS2, Xbox, GameCube, and DS, apparently.
Right.
I just realised I'm a massive hypocrite
Why?
Why?
because I own the Wind Waker HD. That's got a sail in it that's different. That's just a remaster.
Oh, fuck.
Hmm.
Right, that's what they should do. They should remake the original Far Cry and Far Cry 2 or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty good one, actually.
And also they should remake FIFA 10. No, not really.
No, I was going to say you need a
They're doing that this year.
Oh, yeah, they are.
A wet
They
fish
get a
if you
remake
do
every
that.
year of FIFA. Just the last game remade. Yeah, no, I'd really like to see. Far Cry 2 is really good, but the original Far Cry, if they remade that.
But just going back to GoldenEye Rogue Agent, it had no relationship to the film or the N64 game
Oh.
Right.
with a similar name. So, GG EA LA.
Yeah, I don't mind them making GoldenEye 007. I wouldn't want them to keep the textures as they are because that would be bad.
Yeah, it'd just be getting the same
Upscaled
game.
it.
Yeah.
Imagine like enhance the power of the PS4 and the Xbox One with these outdated Nintendo 64 graphics.
Yeah, that'd be so bad. But yeah, I wouldn't mind them. I'd probably buy that if they were to upgrade it. Big time. You need that game would need to be highly buffed to be able to get a £40 price tag on it.
I wonder if they would need to change any of the loadouts or anything. Because what I remember of it, it was a really good shooter for the time, but whether it will have, like, the mechanics and everything will have aged as well.
Hasn't held up at all. Everyone who's played it since has gone, this is terrible. Like, I used to love this game, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Because I tried Perfect Dark like a few years ago, and I really loved that game when that was originally out, and that has not held up well either.
Or remake the original Mass Effect. If that's... I don't know if it needs it, but...
But isn't that one of the games you can get on Xbox?
You
can get that on
backwards
Steam
compatibility,
as well.
that's true. But it's the same, like, game, I don't know. I think there should be a 10-year rule, though, if you're going to remake a game or remaster it. Maybe...
I just feel like it's so ridiculous that games like Dishonored are doing this.
Maybe,
I don't get it.
Maybe for remastered, I'm going to say, I think 5 years.
If there's a generation gap,
yeah,
then yeah, sure, I guess.
Like, okay, for example, if the game came out at the very end of the PS2's life cycle, and now we're on the PS4, if it jumps 2 consoles or something, yeah, probably that's going to be a big jump. But
I'm just mad that they're charging retail price for it, because I'm pretty sure you get, like, Fallout 3 bundled with Fallout 4 if you buy it on Xbox.
There was a caveat with that, wasn't it? You needed to pre-order. You need to pre-order Fallout 4 on Xbox to get Fallout 3 for free.
I kind of think with remakes, though, they should make a poll. You know, do you want this game remastered? Do you want this game remade?
They've done that, though, haven't they? It's called Kickstarter.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they've got the voting thing. Like, if you can go and, like, if for the backwards compatibility, you can go onto Xbox's website and vote for which games you want to see backwards compatible. The top game at the moment is Red Dead Redemption, which should definitely be there because it's an amazing game.
Oh yeah, that is a brilliant game.
The worrying thing,
that game is amazingly good. It's addictive.
And if that game does get, I'm gonna be putting that disc in there as quickly as I can. But the worrying, and Steve's gonna say this isn't the worrying thing. But the worrying thing about the list of the top votes is 6 of those games are Call of Duty games. 6 of them.
Yeah, but my only one that I want redone is Call of Duty 4. I don't want
not redone, but like backwards compatible. So like you've got Black Ops 2 on there. Like that's not even out. Like why do we need to play these games? Why aren't all those kids playing the new Call of Doodahs?
Call of Duty.
I would like to point out that my 8-year-old nephew plays Call of Duty now.
Well, that's who it's aimed at. Me and Steve had this discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, they aim it at like 8 to 12-year-olds, but they put an 18 rated sticker on it. But they know that all the people that are going to be playing it are people who are under that age, and that is a fact. There's not an opinion; it's a fact, all right? Look at what they did with zombies.
I'm genuinely horrified.
They look at, just if you don't believe me, look at the zombies trailer for Black Ops 3. They added a candy machine with a little bubble gum that you can eat. If that's not for kids, that's for babies. We're going to do a video. It's going to be 7 reasons why Black Ops 3 Zombies is for babies.
Yeah.
That's like an entirely different subject completely, but
sorry, I just had to throw that out there because I haven't spoken to anyone about this yet, and I'm horrified.
God of War 3, that again, everybody do me a favour, go look at the comparison video of PS3 versus PS4 God of War 3. Tell me if you can honestly see any differences, because I can't. And they're charging £30 for that, it's like $50 or something. I don't, and they're going to get away with it. Because people are going to be like, oh, I haven't got that game on PS3 anymore. I want to play it on PS4. I'll play this while I wait for God of War 4. And that's sort of where they get you, really.
That's why they do it. They know you're going to buy it. They
know. I'm watching it now, so I'll let you know.
I nearly had that with, Beyond Two Souls I really wanted to play. And I've got it for PS3 now, and I've got a PS3. And that was one of the ones that I think I would have actually bought if they'd done it for PS4, and I'm kind of disappointed in myself with that.
How do you? Because I've heard apparently they're remaking Heavy Rain for PS4.
Yeah, they are.
How do you feel about that?
When did that come out?
I liked Heavy Rain though. That's the thing.
Jason.
Yeah, but do you want to play it again for shinier?
Well, I did like Heavy Rain, but I could always go back to PS3 and play it.
Yeah,
I mean, I've got a PS3 now. Sounds so weird.
I think the
I just get it for that if it's really like that much of a game that.
Yeah, I see what you mean about God of War 3.
Yeah.
Matt.
Exactly, and everyone else go check it out, and if you can see it, I'd like to see some kind
I think
of.
the colours are slightly different.
Yeah, maybe they added some lighting,
Put a filter
make
over
it
the
bright.
top of
Yeah,
it.
hashtag no filter.
I'm
But
just looking at Heavy Rain now. It doesn't look that bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I can pick it up for £6. So
But, like,
You can also play it with move
I think I would
controllers.
only buy remastered versions of games that I never actually played, which kind of sounds like the opposite of what their intended audience might be. I don't know. But for example, Ratchet and Clank. If I'd played the original game, I might not feel inclined to buy this one. If I had played the first 2 Uncharted games, I might not feel inclined to get the Nathan Drake collection. All that kind of stuff. Unless it's been a really long time and I've forgotten it completely. Like, I've completely forgotten Final Fantasy X. I might get the remaster of that at some point because I can't remember anything about that game apart from a few sort of flashbacks about it. So maybe I'll consider that.
I can pretty much just remember the side game, which was the underwater
The football thing,
handball thing.
Didn't they have the guy who was like blind or something?
Was it? I don't even remember.
It's like the guy
It
you
was
meet,
underwater and you chucked a ball to each other and then you scored
like
goals.
there's something, but like after the intro, like the world's falling apart or getting destroyed or something, and then there's this guy who's like wearing these goggles or something and he's blind. I can't remember, something like that. Unless I'm talking about a completely different game,
Okay.
but maybe.
So you're not confusing it with the Chronicles of Riddick or something, are you?
No, there is definitely a guy, and I remember when I was younger. No, because I remember now when I was a kid, I kept on the whole time I was playing that game. I was trying to figure out, is he blind?
Actually, what you've just described there is generic blind person. They wear glasses.
There was like goggle things, but I was like, is he just wearing some sort of like visor thing for? I don't know. I was young and I was trying to figure it out.
Geordie LaForge? No? Okay.
I guess can we squeeze in one more topic? How are we doing for time?
I think we've gone really long here.
We might have to sum it up then. I mean, there's not much to talk about it really. We've talked about Splatoon drip feeding content before. So
That's alright if there's no news by next week.
Yeah. It has been a
Stretch
quite
it out.
dry week. Like, we were trying to think of what to talk about, and then we thought, hey, there's a lot of remasters coming out, and there have been a lot of these definitive editions, showing their shameful faces. So we thought we'd probably discuss it, because it's worth talking about. But yeah. This has been episode 43 of The Spawn Point. Before we close up the episode, does everybody want to plug their shit?
Plug their shit.
Yeah.
I've been away for so long. What does that mean?
Like, promote your stuff. I don't mean literally get a plug and insert.
Stop.
Right, so find me on Twitter, Ryu101, RYW101. Yeah, cool, next one.
Twitter.com/BizarreJelly5 or YouTube.com/BizarreJelly5. Thanks.
Steve, Twitter.
Twitter.com/VectorStevieB. Yay!
Twitter.com/VectorMattJ. That's Jay.
Also, if you're not following, Facebook.com/VectorGaming Network.
And Twitter. And subscribe to it. If you're watching this video and you're at this point right now, do yourself a favour and subscribe. I don't know why you're not subscribed, right? If you are, then,
Fair play.
proud of you.
Thank you.
If not,
Mwah.
what are you doing? You've just watched like 40 minutes plus of 4 people just talk about video games.
Are you really lecturing someone? That
I am. Subscribe!
Right, listen, they should subscribe because I'm back. Subscribe. Why aren't you subscribed? Subscribe now.
Just subscribe. Anyway.
They just all unsubscribed. This is worse than it's fine.
This has been episode 43. From all of us, it is good be.
Bye.
Bye.